So this isn't for every Black girl. This is for the sensitive Black girl who's exhausted. And I really want to talk about how oftentimes rest is looked at as laziness.
I'm Rachel, and I have fun doing so many things, like playing, singing, dancing, painting, filming, and many more. Cause I'm a Mosaic soul, I'm proud to be me, being bold, divine, and free.
So, hey guys, I'm Rachel. If you're new here, I am an artist and Mosaic soul mentor, aka spiritual and multi-passionate teacher extraordinaire mentor with flair. And one of the things that I've noticed in my own life, in my own journey for a while now, is being a health coach in a past iteration of my life, is how many Black women struggle with the energy of feeling like they are lazy, feeling like they have to achieve, be high achievers, feeling like they have to hold everything together, and feeling like if they drop the ball even once, everything will fall apart. And I really want to speak to that experience because oftentimes I think many of us Black women have been programmed through patriarchy, through colonialism, through indoctrination into a system of being the pillars of our society. If you look at it from just sort of a historical perspective, right, to some of our ancestors who were, in that slave system, or who, served as the bedrock for many families of American families, it is definitely indoctrinated into us that we have to be the thread that holds everything together. And I feel like one of the most powerful things that we can do now is to know that it's time to rest, and that not only is rest deeply restorative, but it's like almost our duty, almost like paying homage to our ancestors, almost as if it's paying homage to our souls, to our higher purpose. And when you recognize that you have been like programmed, right, to be the glue that holds everything together, then you can start to unpack why that is. And a lot of stuff that I've been going through in my own personal life and just seeing and noticing patterns in society helped me to really anchor this into my own life in a very deep and immense way. Now, I'm not gonna like fake the funk and act like I haven't always been this way. I've always been a person who know that I needed rest in my life just because of how my energy and my temperament works, because I'm a hard worker. I'm the type of person who will get, 7 days of work done in one day, in one afternoon, and then completely burn out the next day. And that's something that I've struggled with my entire life. But in general, one of the things that I've noticed just being a Black woman and, a large family, and just being around a lot of high achieving Black women, is that we have taken on too much in our own lives. You know what I mean? We've taken on too much too much responsibility that other people need to start carrying that isn't our responsibility. And the reason why I think, as you know, or if you don't know, that we carry on these responsibilities is because we've been indoctrinated into believing that we have to be the glue, we have to be the string, we have to be the through string, the through line through which everything gets done. And if we don't, then the world will fall apart. And in many ways, I do believe that is partially true. But in another way, I think it does us a disservice, and it does others a disservice to actually meet us where we're at, to actually come and support us in our journey, to actually take on the responsibilities of their own lives, right? I have had several clients in the past where these were high achieving women, got the job, got the husband, got the house, got the kids, all this other stuff. And they were always the go-to parent, the go-to person for everything, whether it be handling the finances, handling the trips, handling the everything, right? Handling the health issues and crisis, handling the emotional load, handling the house load, handling, even working full-time jobs and stuff like that. And it's just too much. And keeping in contact with each other, helping people, sort out their issues, being the therapist, doing all these things that we're conditioned to do. And I do believe that it's due to indoctrination of patriarchal conditioning of being that person, being that thoroughbred in our country, in our society, that has been the backbone of our society, and yet at every turn we have been stepped on. Every turn we have been looked down upon. At every turn we are, disadvantaged and having rights taken away from us to make us disadvantaged. You know what I mean? And because of this, we are just naturally strong. Like, we're so strong. But I think it's time for us to not just be soft, but to be strong in like holding our boundaries, right? And letting go of this idea that hyperactivity or hyperproductivity is our natural state of being. It really isn't. It's really become a part of this indoctrination, right? Burnout has become so normalized that we ignore its signals, right? So many women, wake up in their 40s and their 50s with all kinds of, diseases and health issues, womb issues, all these things, right? Like, from being a health coach, as someone who dealt with a lot, I've met so many Black women with womb issues. And I think that's such a testament. And this is not just for, not all sensitive Black women have womb issues, but it's definitely something that I've seen a lot as someone who used to struggle with womb issues myself. That it's definitely, I think, an effect of us carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, right? Many Black women have inherited expectations to be endlessly strong, right? And what we don't realize that when we do these things, it creates this space where we are constantly on the go, constantly pushing ourselves to the next limit, constantly on this hamster wheel of never feeling alive in our own bodies, never feeling appreciated, never feeling in love with our lives, in love with ourselves, in love with our souls, our processes, our internal rhythms that's natural and inbred within us, right? We have such ancient wisdom that's literally in our own DNA, but because we have been indoctrinated and we haven't unpacked a lot of these indoctrinations and programs and scripts, that we have to be the through line through which people can really thrive off of our hard work and effort. We oftentimes are stuck in this trap of being overworked and underpaid, right? And it's not even about money necessarily here. It's really about even like just energy exchange, uneven energy exchange. Like, how many of you have felt like, oh, I've done all these things, and yet I feel like it's been so undervalued. Like, it's undervalued in the work I do. I'm undervalued in the relationships that I carry. I'm undervalued in how I'm perceived in society. Even though I do all this backbreaking work, even though I'm a lot of cases, the breadwinner, or a lot of cases, the person holding the family together. A lot of the cases, the person doing the therapy work for free. A lot of the cases, the person being the mediator, and the person being, the cook, the cleaner, the everything, right? The candlestick maker, right? Like, we are so competent and able to do so much, and yet our souls are like dying, our souls are dying for us to really listen to our souls, right? And to really listen to what is really longing for us. That's why so many people, I feel like so many of us are waking up at this time. And, whether you're in your 30s or your 20s or your 40s or 50s or 60s, and we're having these awakenings where we're realizing that, damn, I haven't been living my life. I've been living my life for other people, right? I've been living my life because this is what I was told would make me happy. Or I've been living my life because this is what I'm supposed to do, right? In order to be successful. And then we get at the end of that 5, 10, 15 years later and being like, damn, this isn't really what it's cracked up to be. Damn, I only have maybe 30, 40, 50 years left on this planet. What else am I going to do? And I really want to encourage us to understand that rest creates space for creativity. It creates space for intuition. It creates space for joy, right? And we don't have to earn rest. It's innate within us. It's our birthright. It is like paying homage to your ancestors and to the people who have gone before you, who have put in the work for us to finally have rights, for us to finally own homes, for us to finally own bank accounts, and to have our own lives, and to establish ourselves in the world where we can have what we need in order to thrive. And I think it does ourselves a disservice for us to continue the narrative of being the backbone of the country, I think it's almost time for us to opt out and let the country fend for itself and let people fend for themselves, right? Like your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your daughters, your nieces, your nephews, right? Your sons, your husbands, right? It's time for us to say, you know what? I'm no longer going to carry this load by myself. It's time for y'all to step up, right? It's time for you to take on the responsibility. I'm tired of carrying this family. I'm tired of doing all of this by myself. I'm tired of being the go-to parent, right? I'm tired of being the go-to, sister, niece, daughter, whatever. And it's time for us to really set healthy boundaries so that we can have rest, right? So that we can have space to hear our creativity, to have space to hear our intuition, have space to actually feel joy, right? And it doesn't happen overnight, nor does it happen in silos, but this is sort of like it's an unlearning process is what I've learned. I think for me, it's something that I innately learned just because of how I operate, that I burn out very quickly because I'm such a sort of hyper active person who can get a lot done in a very short amount of time. I've had to learn how to temper my rest, and I've also had to learn how to say no, how to have boundaries, how to be the villain in my family, how to be the villain friend. I've had to say no more times than I've wanted to, but it has freed me to live more freely, you know what I mean? And learn how to have space in my life. And one of the things that I really want us to understand is that rest is the act of reclaiming your humanity in a way that nothing else can be, especially if you're dealing with burnout, especially if you're dealing with this energy of wanting to feel connected to yourself in a deeper way. Especially, I've heard this several times from past clients and other people too. Have I had $1 for every time I hear a Black woman say, oh, I'm not creative, or I can't do what you do, or stuff like that. That's not true. A lot of times it's just because we have been overworked and underpaid, because we have believed this lie that we are not innately creative. I mean, we are literally the life givers of this planet. How could you not be innately creative? You know what I mean? A lot of times it's because we're just overworked and we're not giving ourselves the space to hear our creativity, to hear our souls cry, to hear what wants to be birthed out of us next, whether that's an actual child or whether that's just the next creative venture that your soul is asking for, right? The next exploration in your life. And when you understand that you are not only the bedrock for everyone else, and you have to like consciously opt out of that life. You have to become the villain in your life to some degree, the villain in your village to some degree. And villain in this sense is just learning to say no. For some reason, people who are users and abusers hate the word no. They hate when you have boundaries, or hate when you can't drop everything to come to rescue them. Bosses, coworkers, when you're taking on extra loads at work, when you're doing your boss's work, when you know that this is your scope of work. I've seen it happen in so many different ways. And for us as sensitive Black women, it's time for us to use our sensitivity in the way that our souls have meant it. We are feeling beings, right? And part of our superpower is our sensitivity. It's our sensitivity to the energies around us, our psychic senses, our intuition, our spidey senses, if you will, to nature, to other people's emotions, to the needs of humanity, right? And I think these are actual superpowers. But what happens is that it's like almost like this superpower has become like lopsided, where we're always using it for other people and we're not using it for ourselves, right? And so when you have this superpower that's innate within you, where you are constantly sensitive to the outside world, you're constantly putting yourself in burnout, you're constantly, being in tune with, like, being a highly sensitive person, or being someone who is, in tune with everything that's going on around, someone who can spot patterns and recognize things very deep and sensitive in a deep way. Oftentimes we undervalue ourselves in so many ways. We undervalue our achievements, our experiences. We are always comparing ourselves to others, because oftentimes we are the stepping stone that everybody else has built the world upon, right? We are the stepping stone that everybody gets to wave their flag of achievements upon, right? And I really want us to take back our power in a very deep and meaningful way. And I feel like the best way that you can start to do that is to really start to prioritize rest in your life, prioritize connecting with yourself in a deeper way, prioritize connecting with your creativity, your intuition, what wants to be birthed through you next, right? What new experience or exploration you want to birth next, right? Because it's time for us to stop acting like we are the saviors of the planet. It's like we need to throw our savior cape to the floor and be like, look, the only person I'm saving here is myself. And, you know, maybe my children who are under the age of 18. After that, like, no, like we gotta, it's just not, it's not fair to us to continue to carry the burdens of the world on our shoulders and get pennies, nothing for it, right? To get scorned, you know, to be, you know, labeled as angry and to be labeled as all these things, when really it's people taking advantage of us and us not being able to have a voice for the things that we've gone through, right, in a way that can be heard and honored, right? It's like, you know, one of the things that I find very interesting about the society that we've lived in and has been documented extensively through so many different women's work, from Ain't I a Woman, you know, to Bell Hooks by Bell Hooks, to so many other, like Trisha Hershey, Rest is Resistance. These are great books to definitely look into. I was also reading another book this past earlier this year called Black Girls Breathing or something like that. Really good book as well. But these are really great resources to start to, if resting feels very uneasy for you, that can help you move into that energy without apology, right? But one of the things, back to what I was saying, is that I find to be very interesting in our sort of patriarchal, colonialistic society, capitalistic society, is that so many people benefit from all our hard work, benefit from our genius, benefit from our brilliance, benefit from our love, from our care, from our compassion, and misuse and abuse us so often, right? And I ain't gonna lie, a lot of times we misuse and abuse ourselves because it's almost like internalized misogyny, internalized misogynoir. But for those of us who are aware, who are awakening, who are, you know, on this journey of self-reclamation, of reclaiming our divinity, of reclaiming ourselves, our sovereignty, I really want to empower you to know that your softness isn't weakness. Your sensitivity isn't weakness. It's literally your superpower. And one of the biggest ways that you can start to tap in and access this superpower is not only rest, but to utilize this superpower is to reclaim yourself in a deep way by knowing yourself and giving yourself to really dive into what brings you joy, dive into what comes alive, dive into what things really drain you, and dive into what is actually in your scope and purview of like problems and things to solve versus what is somebody else's problems. Because I feel like a lot of times as Black women, we've been trained to be super women, superheroes. Like when I see like people in my parents and my mother and like her mother and other aunts and stuff like that in my life, I see, God, these women are such super women, and I don't want that life. And it's not, and this is not me even demonizing. Like, I stand on their shoulders, but not in a demeaning way, in a way of reverence. By, you know, one of the things I would jokingly say to many people who would ask me, I said, it would be a travesty and like a slap in my ancestors' face for me not to rest, for me not to take advantage of this life, for me not to take advantage of the freedoms that I've been given, right? The right to vote, the right to own property, the right to own land, the right to create the life that I want, the right to travel, the right to marry or date anyone I want, right? The right to do what brings me joy, right? Literally a generation ago, we did not have these freedoms, right? We didn't have these freedoms. And now we have the chance to really honor our ancestors and the hard work and the labor that they've done with their lives so that we can live freely. You know what I mean? And that's why I believe, especially the sensitive Black woman, that it is your time to rest. It's your time to rest, reclaim, and to revere yourself as the goddess that you are, right? As the divine woman that you are. And to step into that unapologetically, unabashedly, right? And in a way where it nourishes yourself, but actually ends up nourishing other people too. Because when people have to step up and show up for themselves in a way that they never have because you were always enabling them, then they get to experience a level of sovereignty in their own lives, of seeing how capable and strong that they are as well. You know, and we stop being the backbone of society, so society can start to correct itself, because it's not going to correct itself by us self-sacrificing, by us self-deleting ourselves, by us, you know, self-depleting ourselves. It's only going to show up when it's only going to correct itself when we start saying, you know what, enough is enough. Y'all been using, abusing me for way too damn long. And it's time for y'all to get the step in and for us to rewrite history, right? For us to write a new chapter in history where Black women thrive, Black women are joyful, Black women are sacred, Black women are in communion and community with each other. Black women revere each other. Black women put each other on pedestals and in sacred circles with each other. Black women rest together and love one another. Black women love themselves, right? And I think it's so crucial, and this is such a pivotal time in history, especially with what's going on in history right now, right? In our worlds right now. This is like the radical revolution, the silent revolution that's been needed, you know? So if you're looking for a soft and sacred place to land and to rest and to feel seen and heard, I really want to invite you to join my Mosaic Souls waitlist for my Mosaic Souls World waitlist, which is basically a creative sanctuary for like-minded souls like you and I, if this video resonated thus far, where you can feel seen, feel heard, and also be inspired by my work as an artist, but also walk alongside me in whatever capacity works for you, from taking courses and classes with me to different quests to the chronicles, which are basically going to be sort of sacred letters and art and works that is sent out to you every month. And all this stuff is going to be launching soon. So if that interests you, definitely visit me at mosaicsoulsworld.com to join the waitlist. And thank you for listening. Let me know how this resonates for you. As always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. You are a divine being, and your soul knows exactly what you've come to explore and experience while on this planet. So I hope this message finds you well. And remember, what you conceive is what you'll receive. What you expect is what you'll get. And however you feel is what will become real for you. So vibrate higher, and I'll chat with you guys next time. Peace, love, and light.